We're often taught that strength means being unshakable, guarded, or always in control. That if you're too gentle, too emotional, or too open, you'll get taken advantage of. But real strength isn't about force, it's about resilience. Softness isn't about shrinking or making yourself small. It's about standing tall, knowing your worth, and letting your energy speak for itself. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Pretty Intentional, the podcast where beauty, lifestyle, and personal growth intersect. I'm your host, Candace Coleman, and here we discuss and have real conversations about everything from self-care and confidence to faith, friendships, and leveling up in life. In episode 6, we had a pretty deep conversation about our mothers, the women who shaped us for better or worse. We talked about the journey of seeing our mothers as not just mom, but as women with their own stories, wounds, and struggles. And for many of us, that realization changes everything. If you haven't listened to that episode already, I encourage you to go back and do so. One of the biggest takeaways from that conversation was how much our mothers influence the way we see ourselves, our worth, our relationships, and even the way we express or suppress our femininity. Some of us had mothers who embodied softness, while others had mothers who taught us that being soft wasn't safe, that to survive we had to be strong, independent, and even unshakable. In one of my therapy sessions, my therapist was getting on me about doing too much and having up too many walls and stressing myself out from carrying things that didn't belong to me. And she said, I'm going to share something with you that my grandmother shared with me. My grandmother said, "Baby, I don't want to be strong. Look around. All the strong women are dead." And that stuck with me because being strong is stressful, and stress will literally kill you. For Black women, choosing softness isn't just a vibe. It's revolutionary. Historically, we weren't even allowed the option to be soft. There was a time when being a stay-at-home wife, resting, or fully embracing femininity wasn't just rare, it was legally and socially denied to us. While white women were encouraged to lean into domesticity, Black women were expected to work, no matter what. Even after slavery, laws and policies were put in place to keep us in labor. So this idea of living a soft life, of resting, receiving, and moving with ease, it's not just self-care. It's reclaiming something that was stolen from us. So when I say softness is strength, I mean it. Because for us, as Black women, choosing to exist in ease, in joy, and in our feminine power is one of the boldest things we can do. So today, we're diving into what it truly means to be soft and why real strength comes from it. Let's talk about divine feminine energy, why so many of us struggle to embrace it, and how to cultivate a softness that makes you unstoppable. I know you've seen it everywhere. Soft girl era, living the soft life, and heard, I'm just a girl. This whole movement of leaning into femininity, ease, and softness. The aesthetic? Oh, girl, it's plush robes, satin and silk pajamas, slow mornings, candles, fresh flowers, bubble baths, luxury vacations, and spa treatments. And on the surface, it sounds lovely. Romanticizing life, embracing beauty, slowing down. But I want to go deeper than the aesthetic because true softness, the kind that makes you powerful, isn't just an aesthetic. It's not about fluffy robes and candles and $300 fragrances. It's an energy. It's a way of moving through the world with trust, grace, and confidence, rather than force and resistance. And when you learn to embrace it, you don't just feel lighter, you actually become stronger. We're often taught that strength means being unshakable, guarded, or always in control. That if you're too gentle, too emotional, or too open, you'll get taken advantage of. But real strength isn't about force, it's about resilience. Think about water. It's soft, fluid, and adaptable, but it also has the power to shape mountains. It doesn't resist, it moves with life. And that's what softness does. It's not about being passive, it's about knowing when to flow and when to stand firm. I know we've all experienced it before. You're in a situation and someone tries to get a rise out of you, and instead of reacting, you stayed calm. That wasn't weakness, that was power. Most recently, I experienced this at work. I haven't even been with my company for a full year yet, and I was brought on to turn things around and push things further in the business development department. As expected, not everyone is happy about that, and someone wanted to challenge me in front of peers and superiors. And honestly, even in this very moment, me trying to tell the story, I'm still trying to be nice and cute about it. The black ass bottom line is, sis tried to pop off in the most unprofessional way and was questioning not only my capabilities, but she was trying to school me, or thinking she was schooling me on something that she doesn't even do. Something I've been doing for 13 years. Now, instinctively, I was prepared to finger bang on that keyboard and deliver the most nice, nasty read I have done in a long time, because I live for a corporate clapback. But I fell back and let her think that she had the last word. And indeed, it was her last word, because she fucked around and found out that she's no longer invited to the business development meeting. She should have just sat there and ate her food, sweetie. But even in that scenario, being soft means you don't have to react harshly to prove your strength. You just trust yourself enough to move with grace. I had to trust myself that, hey, I'm leading business development. Let her act out. Now, let's talk about the other side of this. So many of us have had to be strong. We've had to push through pain, put up walls, and prove we can handle things on our own. Many of us are taught that being tough, guarded, or emotionally detached is the only way to be strong, especially in relationships or the workplace. But this kind of hardness is often rooted in fear. Fear of being hurt, overlooked, or taken advantage of. Maybe life didn't give you the luxury of softness. As a firstborn daughter, softness wasn't something I always had the privilege to experience, or even see my mother experience. My mother didn't see my grandmother be soft, and I'm almost certain my grandmother didn't see my great-grandmother being soft. These are part of the generational traumas we talked about last episode. So it's no surprise that now, as grown women, we're trying to unlearn a lot of that. But here's what I've realized. Being hard all the time isn't real strength. It's protection. It's survival mode. And while that might keep you from getting hurt, it also keeps you from experiencing connection, joy, and ease. True strength comes from knowing you can handle life's ups and downs without closing yourself off. So ask yourself, are you being strong because you want to be, or because you don't feel safe being anything else? One of the biggest ways we resist softness is by struggling to receive. And I get it. So many of us have been conditioned to believe we have to do it all. That asking for help, accepting love, or even just letting someone pour into us is weak. The truth is, it takes strength to receive. To trust that you're worthy of good things without having to fight for them. I want you to think about something simple. and it's something that I've asked before. How do you react when someone gives you a compliment? Do you say thank you and take it in? Or do you immediately deflect and say something like, oh, I just threw this together? We talked about this in Pass on the Pretty episode. That's a small but powerful sign of whether or not you're comfortable receiving. When you embrace softness, you open yourself up to receiving love, help, and opportunities. And when we bring this into relationships, whether it's friendships, family, or romantic connections, softness becomes even more powerful. Think about the last time you were in conflict with someone. Did you react defensively? Did you shut down? Because here's the thing. Staying open when you want to close off is one of the hardest things you can do. I used to pride myself on being the strong one, the one who always had it together. It's something that carried over into romantic relationships as well. I had a lot of pride and a lot of ego. I didn't need you to do anything for me. I could do things for myself. I was defensive. I would get snappy and shut down and ice out. But that was really just me being afraid to be vulnerable. Those were defensive moves of the little girl in me who never felt heard or acknowledged, so why speak up? Working through being vulnerable in relationships has been a big thing for me. And when I got there, everything changed and I became a better and stronger partner. And knowing that it takes more strength to be vulnerable than to shut down. And I want to be clear. Being soft does not mean letting people walk all over you. It means setting boundaries with love and grace. Instead of snapping or shutting down, it sounds like, I hear you, but I need some space before I respond. That's softness and strength working together. When we talk about divine feminine energy, what we're talking about is intuition, grace, flow, and emotional intelligence, all of which are powerful. Some of the most magnetic women you've ever met, whether in history, in media, or even your own life, aren't the ones who are the loudest or the hardest. They're the ones who move with quiet confidence, who don't force things, but attract them, who trust themselves enough to let life come to them instead of chasing it down. When you embody softness, you naturally command respect because your energy is rooted in self-assurance rather than force. I could go on and on about divine feminine energy, so I think I'm going to dig more into that in its own episode because, baby, it deserves it. So when you hear someone say they're in their soft girl era, I want you to think about what that truly means. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about a way of being, one that makes you stronger, not weaker. Softness isn't about shrinking or making yourself small. It's about standing tall, knowing your worth, and letting your energy speak for itself. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to let yourself soften a little. So if there is one thing I want you to take away from this conversation, it's that softness isn't weakness, it's power. Choosing to move with grace, to lead with warmth, to be open instead of guarded. These are not signs of fragility. They are choices made from deep confidence and strength. For so long, we've been taught that survival means hardness, but true strength isn't about constantly being in defense mode. It's about knowing when to surrender, when to receive, and when to trust yourself enough to be soft. Whether it's in your friendships, your relationships, or even the way you talk to yourself, start noticing where you can invite more softness in. Because when you do, you'll realize that it doesn't take away your strength. It enhances it. So whether you're trying to enter your soft girl era or completely harness your divine feminine energy, I hope you took some things away from this episode. My hope and prayer for you is that you find safety emotionally, physically, and mentally, because the safer we feel, the softer we become. And that is something I wish for each and every one of you. If you've made it this far, thanks for joining me for another episode of Pretty Intentional. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And be sure to rate, and I would love if you would leave a comment. And share this episode with someone who may need it. Remember, being intentional isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself and your journey. Until next time, stay true to yourself, live with purpose, and as always, keep it pretty intentional.